Alright, so for tonight, I'm going to be going through the walled city this second episode. Without further ado, let's get back to some Shadowrun Hong Kong. City of Darkness. Kowloon Walled City. The most densely populated spot on Earth. Nearly 40,000 people crammed into 7 acres of chaos, poverty, disease, and vice. A self-contained city that collects no taxes and provides no city services. Stagnant water sits in temporary wells. Trash lies piled on roofs for controlled burns. Improvised structures lean dangerously over populated areas. It's the ideal breeding ground for all manner of illicit trade, drugs, gambling, black market trade, metahuman trafficking, and everything in between. The only law is triad law. And now you need to enter the septic system of a city, find triad enforcer named Strangler Bao, and deliver a message from Kindly Chang. We'll just confirm that there. Foul oil water rains down from above, mixes with filth and offal and swill of the streets, turns it into a flowing slurry of unrecognizable sewage. In the distance, the sounds of back alley activity add to the ambience at your arrival. Breaking glass, the cackling hiss of garbage fire, faint screams of terror punctuated with the occasional gunshot. Sex and business and violence and misery blends into one. Wu winces at the stink, waves his hand in front of his face. Ugh. Raven said that prosperity is in the walled city, but I don't see it. Why the hell would he want to set foot in this place? Who knows? He'd have to be insane to travel to the walled city. As I think we said, it's the worst slum in the Eastern Hemisphere, maybe the worst in the world. She does her best to suppress her shudder. Can't keep her dread from creeping into her voice. I can't believe I grew up here. Sorry to drag you back here. Isabella looks around her, closing her eyes. You couldn't have brought Gobbet instead. I would have been cool with that. She peers up the catwalk and sky bridges that connect to rotting tenants, sagging architecture. Frowning, she points to the spot in the distance. There was a market over there when I was a kid. Might not be a bad place to start. I thought you knew where to find Strangler Bao. I do. We need to get it into the Lotus Den. That's what Bao calls the little island of control that he's carved out for himself here. It's a stupid name, but it's stuck. He'll have guards posted at every entrance, but we might be able to find a way around them through the market. That's what Kindly would prefer. They probably aren't expecting anyone to come in force. We can kick in the door, drop the guards, hand over the message, and get the hell out. Kindly doesn't want them dead. She wants them to remember where their loyalties lie. It's tough to remember much of anything when you've got a bullet in your head. I mean, we could kill them if you really wanted to. Technically, Bao is the only one that has to live, but I'd rather keep Auntie Chang happy than piss her off again. That'll be up to them. If they don't try to kill us, they live. Got it. Let's get this done. A putrid stench emanates from the remains of the building. You see nothing what would cause it. Bloodied woman. A young woman lies on the ground. She's a bloody mess. Streaks and spatters of crimson crosses her blouse and mat her hair. Judging by the quality of her clothing and the bag on her shoulder, you'd make her out as a student. She's as out of place here as a librarian would in a game of urban brawlers. She struggles to move, but she's clearly exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes tell that she hasn't slept in days. When the woman sees you heading her way, her face hardens. You see her hand slip into her jacket pocket. But as she studies your face, the fear in her eyes give way to curiosity. You guys don't look like you're from around here. A hacking cough shakes her, but her eyes remain fixed on you. That's right, we're out-of-towners. Cool. That's cool. She looks like she can barely keep her eyes open. Predators. I'm okay, though. The blood's theirs. Thought I'd rest here for a minute before I got back to work. Work? You're here on a job? She shakes her head. No, school. I'm a student at HKU. She glances around watchfully, over your shoulder, at the buildings looming above her, into the windows nearby. Here to do some research. Gotta finish before I can leave. This place is dangerous. What are you doing here? I wasn't alone. Not until a few days ago. Another long, wet cough. I'd been living with a family in one of the inner blocks for the past couple of months, working on my master's thesis. What happened to the family? A pained expression washes over her face. I'm not 100% sure. The mother, she worked in a dive bar as a hostess. The father was a handyman. They never really went anywhere. Didn't have the money to. I woke up one day and the whole family was gone. Just gone. I squatted in their place for a while, but then some people started coming around, eyeing the place. I figured I should get out, finish my research as fast as I can, and head back to the campus. Then I got sick. We grunts. What kind of research would you do in a place like this? My thesis is about feng shui in the sixth world. This was the right place to do it. The only place to do it. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. What's feng shui? Although she is exhausted and possibly ill, the student's eyes gleam. Feng shui is one of the 5 arts of Chinese metaphysics. Before the awakening, it was thought of as a philosophical system of harmonizing people with the surrounding environment. You know? Architecture, interior design, stuff like that. Now in the sixth world, feng shui has become more than that. My thesis is about how it's actually a form of magic. The whole thing was also around qi, invisible life energy that binds every person and thing together. It's very real, here in Hong Kong. Nobody knows the reason why. Maybe it's only because people believe that it is. The important thing is, it's a measurable, quantifiable phenomenon. There's an entire industry that grows up around it. So how's the key in this place? It's all wrong. The feng shui in the walled city is completely screwed. I mean, look at the place. She gestures to the squalor surrounding you. You could feel it, right? I felt that something was wrong the minute I walked in. Bad key, huh? Key needs to flow. Positive feng shui allows that to happen. If key gets pent up and trapped, it goes sour. That's what's happening here. The woman clears her throat, then lets out a hacking cough. The effort requires a moment for her to recover before she speaks. You know, I'd hate to admit it, but I could use some help. I started running and, well, I guess you'd call it an experiment of sorts. Nothing conclusive, just a few quick trials to support my hypothesis before going into the hardcore data gathering mode. There's only a few things left to do. If you could finish them off for me, I could get out of here. She holds out a crumpled piece of paper. Please follow the notes on this sheet. Duncan examines the paper from her outstretched hand and examines it, frowning. Just say what you need us to do. I need you to make adjustments to the area's feng shui. My notes will tell you how. The goal is to remove source of friction and to record the result. My hypothesis is that even small adjustments can have measurable impact on key flow. If I'm right, it should improve the life here. It should get it just a little bit better. No promises. Wires are spiking dangerously just above the doorway. Patch the worn-out wire coating. A quick patch job and some nearby waste rubber leaves the wires safe once more. Alright, let's give a chat to you, buddy. A well-dressed muscled and heavily tattooed triad member looks up from his PDA, bored but alert. Behind him, other Yellow Lotus soldiers take note and turn to leer at you. Yellow Lotus Captain. You're in the wrong neighborhood, tourist girl. You and your little tourist friends. I'm a local. I work for Kindly Chang. Show some respect. The triad soldier sneers at her. That's so. Then you already know that you shouldn't be here. That fossil doesn't run things around here anymore. His hand strays to his jacket and a conspicuous bulge in the fabric. Could be a gun, a knife, or a blackjack. Let's get moving, little girl. Best move before we hurt you all real bad. I'm not gonna tell you twice. We're here to deliver a message to Strangler Bao. He pauses in mock consideration. No, I don't think so. We haven't been told to inspect anyone. Look, this is a message directed from Kindly Cheng to Strangler Bao. They're both above your station. You want to stand in the way of that? I sure as hell wouldn't. The Yellow Lotus soldier's mouth tightens. This is a trick. You're just trying to get close to Bao so that you can put a bullet in him. Etiquette, gang. If Kindly Cheng wanted Bao dead, you wouldn't be talking to me. You'd be dead, and an army of Kindly soldiers would kick in his door. I'd listen to her if I were you. You turn us away, you might piss Chang off enough for those soldiers to come knocking. The leer drops off his face. He seems deflated. You say you have a message for Bao? Okay. You go through. Just keep your hands where I can see them. Uh-huh. You come upon a heavily muscled triad soldier, screaming at a bearded old man holding a bleeding nose. The punk wags a cheap, disposable cred stick in the old man's face. This! The bright plastic case would look cheerful if it weren't smeared with blood. This isn't enough. You got two options, old man. You can find a way to pay me all the money, or you can drag your bony ass deeper into the wall, find a spot for yourself there with the pimps and the predators. They should find a nice use for you. Your choice. The old man wails. It's not fair. I can't just pack up and leave. I've been living here for 22 years, and I... Is this how it's going to be? He rolls his burly shoulders. Fine by me. That was rude. Inspect. Pour the bucket of sand onto the flames. The flames are stifled beneath the dirty sand and soil from the bucket. Ah, you. The Yellow Lotus enforcer glares at you. You can see the outline of the old man's cred stick in his vest pocket. He flexes his muscle bulge. What do you want? Step away, asshole. Right now. I thought I'd relieve you of the burden of currency. Cred stick, please. Yellow Lotus enforcer. I've got a better idea. Think I'll take your money instead. He licks his lips. Give me your cred stick, or you'll get what the old man got. What the old guy got. I'm not playing around. Etiquette, Shadowrunner. Shaking down a Shadowrunner isn't a good idea, sweetheart. Give me the old man's cred stick before I put a hole where your head is. He comes up short, frowning. His eyes shift from you to Duncan, to the assault rifle on Duncan's back. To hell with it. There's nothing this old stick anyway. He tosses the cheap cred stick back to you. The balance on its LED screen reads 063. You got what you came for. Now get out, yeah? I got a date in an hour, and I don't need you to mess it up. I don't want any trouble, boss, he exhales sharply. Please, just leave me be. Item, cheap cred stick. Hand him back his cred stick. Here you go, man. Got this back for you. Oh, thank you, thank you. I don't have anything that I can reward you with, but I do appreciate what you did. What is this? This old rusted water valve might have been able to close off the flow of water that's pouring out of the broken pipe. Duncan, can you give me a hand with this? Duncan steps up to the valve. Sure thing. Shouldn't be too hard. The flow of water ceases. Less clean water will run off into the streets now. Security terminal. This terminal belongs to Bow's people. I bet that we can get some useful stuff out of it. Ask Isabella to jack in. Right. Now, unlike the other system where everything is time-based, this is based on combat. So, if this line gets to 90, you start alerting the security. But only if you trigger these things here. And I don't particularly feel like triggering anything at this point. So, I thank you. What if I went this way? Ah, man. I forgot this was a huge pain in the bum. I've got to be careful. And I believe that is as close as I can get. Makes me pee just a little bit. Hide in here. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Nearly pooped a little bit. Hide in here. Oh, this is gonna be... come on! Oh! Anyway, back to hacking. MT. This one. And that is how you do it. Exotic animal dealer contract. Latest den access area. There we go. Left in this one. Hatch to deadbolts. Then we can just leave. Enter the den. Open the door. Ah, I do. Strangler bow. A large man in his 50s stands waiting, his heavily tattooed arms held in fighter's stance. His bone structure is heavy, corded with muscles standing out from his arms and chest. In his youth he must have been enormous. He doesn't talk so much as emits a low rumble. I don't know how you got in here, but you got my attention. Good, I have a message from Kindly Chang. A message from Shang? I can't wait to hear you mangle it. He chuckles to himself. You speak Cantonese so well, but before I hear it, I have a little message for her too. You tell Kindly Chang that her operations are done from the walled city. Strangler Bao has given himself a promotion. And tell her that if she sends any more errant girls to visit him with another message, Strangler Bao is going to send them back in a box. You think you can tell her that, errant girl? Should I write it down for you in English? Hold out a data stick. Just slot this stick and listen to the message, and I'll be gone, okay? I don't get to hear you butcher the message. I'm sad. He grabs a small plastic drive from my hand, slots it into his trip player. Currently Chang stands erect, speaks directly to the camera. Mr. Bao, as everyone knows, you are a man of swift action. I respect that, and because of that respect, I will get right to the point. I know where your money is coming from. I know that you have friends working for straw sandals like myself. They have been siphoning funds from their organizations. I know about the noodle shop that you launder the money through. I have tasted their broth and found it wanting. The old woman becomes flinty hard. You have been stealing from the Yellow Lotus, glorifying yourself with revenue that we have earned, and I have files to prove it. Bao's eyes widen as files begin to flit across the screen. Receipts, bank reports, personal communications between himself and these men. Currently, Chen continues to speak, smooth and casual. Now, in light of our recent conflict, you might be wondering why I am keeping this information to myself. Why I haven't exposed you so you could be dragged from your lotus den by the balls and slowly roasted on a rotisserie spit. In truth, I respect your ambitions. You have a lot to learn about candor and loyalty, but I believe that you still have value. I'm still willing to work with you. However, in order for that to happen, we need to come to an understanding about the nature of our partnership. Currently, Chang steps forward, feels the screen. I own you, Bao. You and all of your men are in my fucking playthings. Dolls to twist and pose as I see fit. I am in the position because I am far better at this than you. And it is time that you learned it. Accept what I am telling you, and we can get back to business. Prosper together. But if you continue your little rebellion, I will mail tiny pieces of you to your children and take their pictures as an open and package. She produces one of her thin black cigars, lights it, and holds the smoke for a long time. You have 24 hours to return to the fold. If you aren't here licking my heels by then, the information will be released and you will become food for fish. Your choice, Bao. 24 hours. The message winks out. Strangler Bao turns from the screen slowly. His skin is ashen. Get out. He pauses, casts his eyes on the floor. And tell Mrs. Cheng to expect me at Swift Winds tomorrow. He stands up straight. Tomorrow morning. I will thank you for your time. Just go. Just go. The young woman startles at your approach, fumbling for something in her pocket. When she recognizes you, she relaxes. Is it done? It's done. Thank you so much. The young woman sighs with relief. She opens the flap on her satchel, reaches inside and produces a plastic sheath. I'm not magically active, so I can't see the flow of the key in the area. But I've got test strips. Little sheets of paper embedded with key-sensitive bacteria. It's a close relative to the FAB, but it doesn't see much use outside of Hong Kong. She pulls the strip out of the sheath and holds it in the air. Within seconds, it turns ink black. She lets out a dejected sigh, her eyes shifting from the strips to her watch. To the strip again, she looks utterly defeated. Damn it. I've been making adjustments for weeks now, trying to get the key to circulate better, and nothing seems to work. If anything, this one went bad even faster than the control strips I took when I got here. Any idea why? No, it should have worked. I followed the texts, done everything right. The key here is rancid, that's obvious, but I swear it's even worse than it should be. No wonder this place is so disgusting. The student coughs and rests her head in her hands. That's it, I'm getting out of here. In a little while. Gotta tell my advisors about this. Thank you for your help. Hope you didn't stay long. I sure as hell won't. And there goes that mission. Done cleanly, and about as good as you can probably expect. Return to Hui. Ryu holds up his hands for everyone to stop, turns to two of you, and hooks his thumb at his belt. Well, that was a thing. Never thought I'd be shuttling messages between criminals and Hong Kong syndicate. I can't imagine what Raymond would have wanted in the walled city. This place just feels wrong. Looking for more stray kids to take in? After us, I don't think he'd want it anymore. He rubs his forehead in confusion. Seriously, why did Raymond want to come anywhere near this place? It makes you feel like your life has no value. Like there's just no point to anything. He sighs and looks at your companion. Red life you have here, runner. Isabella ignores the barb. She's too pleased. I can't believe it. We actually delivered Auntie's message without anyone dying. I've had enough of the trads. Let's just get out of this pit. I'm with you, Guncho. I don't need to see this place ever again. Guncho? Seriously? Rue's goggles pointed down at Isabel. That's not gonna stick, is it? Return to Hui. It's hard to shake off the walled city. Its gravity clings to you as if the wretchedness itself had grown tentacles. The sounds of shuffling subside, but their echoes still thumb your insides. Isabel walks quickly, regularly checks over her shoulder as if expecting pursuit from the buildings themselves. She hugs the cyberdeck to her chest as if protecting a small child. Rue passes a moment and breathes a sigh of relief when you finally reach the streets, but returning to Hui isn't like coming home. Suspicious looks and closed mouths assent on smiling faces. That billboard's a universal message. You don't belong here. Time to report back to Kindly Cheng and inform her that the message has been delivered. Getting this business over with. You get your sin burned, get on to the next step, whatever that is. You leave the City of Darkness behind, head to the Mahjong Parlor and a date with a crime lord. Go talk to Kindly Cheng. Kindly Cheng watches you closely as you walk across the Mahjong Parlor. As you approach her, Lieutenant leans in, brings her mouth close to the tried boss's ear. Cheng smiles and nods, her eyes never leaving you. There's a twinkle in the straw sandal's eye. I've heard from Bao. He got my message very clearly. And I understand that there were no casualties created during your little delivery run. I am pleased and surprised. Isabel did a great job at guiding us. A wry grin. Did she? Good to know. My message was delivered and Strangler Bob is back to the fold, earning for me. As far as I'm concerned, our transaction is complete. While you were gone, I set the wheels in motion to wipe your identities. She pulls out her PDA, stabs a button with her lacquered fingernail. The order has been sent. Congratulations, you're now sinless. Shadow people. Wu exhales heavily. His eyes remain focused straight ahead, but his shoulders sag. Well, I guess that's done. Yeah, I guess so, but I'm not. Where he pulls himself up to his full height. Whoever gave the order to the kill order on Carter also forced us to give up our identities and took Raymond. Wu sets his jaw firm. That's all I can think about. Finding who did this. Finding Ray. Finally, Cheng holds up a hand. While I was working to get your sins burned, I also had my network looking into Raymond Black's disappearance. I've been thinking about what you told me earlier, and I agree. She eyes the room carefully and leans in. I can't just let this lie. Someone killed my runners. It would be a sign of weakness to the Yellow Lotus and the others if I do nothing. She rests her PDA on the mahjong table facing you. The Triad boss's tongue slips from her mouth as she looks up over the top, hunting for the right button on its upside-down interface. She finds it and looks up at you again. I have news to share with you, my darlings. The kind you won't like. Raymond Black is dead. She taps the button and a recorded new cast appears on the screen. Raymond's photograph appears on the screen behind a reporter standing on the docks of Victoria Harbour. It's a picture you've seen before, a professional portrait taken for the press release about a youth centre he was opening in the Redmond Barrens. Under Raymond's photo are the words, Seattle man killed. Another shooting involving the police department. A Seattle community organizer and industrial engineer was apparently shot and killed while resisting arrest at Victoria Harbour last night. Hong Kong Police Force, HKPF Police, reported that the UCAS man, Raymond Black, has behaving erratically and would not respond to the police's order to surrender. No additional information regarding Black or why he was traveling to Hong Kong are available. Police have stated that due to the shooting's proximity to last night's shootout with the White Star, the investigation must remain confidential, and no other details are to be revealed at this time. Kindly Chang taps the button again, and the video closes. Wu puts his hand to his face. This just keeps getting worse. It definitely isn't getting any better. Raymond's dead. Wu puts his hand over his mouth, trying to process the information. He sways, and for a moment, it looks as if he's going to pass out. Isabel reaches out to touch Wu. Think better of it and pulls back her hands. Sorry for your loss. I never had a father, so I didn't know what it was like to lose one, but sorry. Son of a bitch. Raymond's dead. Kindly taps the video closed. She hunts around the keypad to select another button. I'm afraid that is not all, my darlings. This is a security footage from the Victoria Harbour from last night. You'll find it contains a contradiction. The PDA shows silent, grainy video footage of Raymond sitting in a tea shop, flanked by two guards. He's looking down at something with his hand, completely distracted. The footage continues, and the camera displays several black-clad figures entering the field of view from different angles, guns ready. A tall, sharply dressed man in a suit walks brusquely towards Raymond, flanked by two more. Raymond stands to face him and the camera gets a clear view of the suit's face. White plastic. His guards turn to draw weapons on and muzzle flashes erupt from all sides. One of Raymond's guards goes down and his submachine gun fires wildly, hitting the camera. Wu puts his hand on the table and leans in. Those weren't cops, and Raymond wasn't resisting arrest. What's with this guy's face? Gobbert reaches up and strokes the rat perched on her shoulder. Is that a mask? It doesn't look like a mask. It looks like some sort of semi-rigid plastic implant. Real craftsmanship. She pushes out her lower lip in appreciation. Quite a fashion accessory. It's also the kind of fashion accessory that stands out in a crowd. This guy's either a fool or an arrogant son of a bitch. He sets his jaw firm. Either way, I'm gonna find him. Kunling Cheng watches Wu intently. I believe you. Wu stands back and turns to you. What now? We stand in the shadows. We don't. We're dead, too. Cheng eyes sparkle. True, but how? I'm afraid there are some facts that you're going to have to face. She puts on a grave face. You are alone in this country. No network, no money, no identity. I can protect you from the police, but how would you survive in the shadows? Only wipes her hand across a stack of tiles, spreading the ivory-colored pieces across the table. You've had a very long night, my sweets. Very long. And frankly, you all look like shit. Rest now. I promise you safety in my town for the night. We'll talk about the plastic face man tomorrow. Kindly gestures to Gobbert and Isabel. Ladies, go find out your friend a place to bed down in that rat's nest squat boat you call a home. We'll all talk after you've slept. Figure out our next steps together. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. Thank you for your help, Auntie. Of course, my sweet. Friendly Chang smiles, and her black button eyes flash cold. What are friends for? Safe boat. You two can bunk here for a while. She nods with her nose towards a hatch. You've each got ahead to take care of your necessities. Try and knock before you answer someone else's, okay? Seriously. I know the drill. Wu turns to you. Stinks of fish, just like what the place we squatted at on Leary Avenue back when we were kids. The one with Aslian family and their dog. I remember being a dump. I don't know. They managed to make the place pretty comfortable for a while, until 162 decides that they wanted it. He wipes his nose with his gloved hand. It's too bad they were good people. Nobody should go out that way. He stretches. His spine pops like a handful of firecrackers. I think I've been up something like 36 hours straight. He drops his arms. And this has been one shit stain of a day. Time to end it. The orc turns to you, raises an eyebrow. Anything you need before I leave you to it? Is it just you and Isabel living here? Yeah. Gobbert's mouth screws up a bit. Now that Nightjar and Gunshot are gone, it's just us. The squeal of metal grinding on metal rips through the boat. It sounds like it's coming from the level below. And a creepy Russian guy renting the engine room downstairs. Nothing to worry about. He mostly keeps to himself. She checks her PDA. He'll stop soon. He's usually quiet by now. Is there a place to put my stuff? Yeah. Check the locker over there. You can stash your stuff in it. No one will touch your things in here. And it's a lot bigger than it looks. How did you get your hands on this place? How did people like us get our hands on anything? We found it. You found it empty. He swipes his eyes across the cabin and dabs its plane on his face. Somebody abandoned a prime piece of real estate like this? She shrugs. Close enough. It was full of BTL junkies and we came across it. They were completely wigged out on some multiplayer cyber game. I'm not even sure they ever chipped out of it. They were completely emaciated, strewing in pile of their own shit. Their eyes had sunk into their skulls. Pretty gruesome stuff. They racked up a killer score, though. True, they had the moves. Should have hung an IV while they were playing, though. Turns out, nutrition is important. So what happened? Did they die? She shrugs. Nightjar ran him out. Not sure what happened to them after that. Anyway, it's ours now. Auntie Chang said so. All but the engine room, you mean? Right, everything but that. Auntie rented it out from under us. That must have pissed you off. She shrugs. Whatever. We weren't using it. As long as our downstairs neighbor keeps to himself, we can have the lower level, especially if it keeps Auntie Chang happy. I'm gonna grab some sack time, too. Good. You look like you can use it. We'll go see Kindly in the morning, figure out our next move. Go to sleep. You climb into the cot and warm your way under the sheets. They've been starched stiff as boards, but you slept nonetheless. The lice and bedbugs that plagued your old prison cell are mercifully absent here, and the salt air is fresh than the rancid stink of the Redman Baron. The moment your head hits the pillow, exhaustion sets in. You can barely keep your eyes open. Sleep washes off you like a warm bath, and everything goes black. The dream is suffocating, the shifting tunnel of glass and steel, the towering silhouette of a dark majesty, a shadowy doorway, and teeth. They snap at your heels as you claw your way back to consciousness. You open your eyes to Duncan looming over you. He's shaking you shoulders roughly. Sam! Come on, Sam, wake up. We've got to go talk to Kindly. The others have already left. What's your problem, Duncan? He lets go of his shoulders and cocks his thumb at the hatch. We gotta go. I've been trying to wake you for a while now. You were thrashing around in your sleep. Thrashing around? Yeah, you were clawing at the air. Clawing, huh? Did I say anything? Nah, you just mumbled a bit. Nothing I could make out. He scowls. I didn't sleep well either. Bad dreams. What about? He shrugs. I never remember my dreams all that well. It was probably motion sickness, not used to sleeping on a boat. I woke up a little while ago and hit the head. Then I came back and woke you. You doing okay? I'll survive. Your fingers hit a knot, he winces. But man, nothing's gone right since we stepped foot in this country. I'll tell you something though, and this is after a full night's sleep. I don't believe Ray's dead. I hope you're right, but I gotta say, it doesn't look good. I'm right. Think about it. The statement from the cops on the newscast could be fake. Ours was, and the surveillance footage, I never saw Raymond get shot. The camera was hit by a stray gunfire. His passion intensifies, but contained focus. Raymond is alive, Sam. I know it. You're making a good case, Officer Wu. He smiles. His teeth are white and straight and perfect. Should have seen the detective instead of a headbuster, right? His smile fades. God, I feel like I'm 12 years old again, squatting on a stinking trawler. My partner's gone, Raymond's gone, hell, I'm gone. I don't even have a name anymore. And now I can't even go to sleep and hide it from all without having a nightmare. His jaw tightens, and his teeth grind so loud you can hear it. What else is going to be taken away from me? Still have that piercing you got from Tacoma? I had to drop that. Hygiene issues. Wu struggles to smile. He fails. What the hell did we fall into here, Sam? I mean, what's coming next? Isn't it obvious? Look around. We're sinless, living in shadows, dealing with criminals. Wu was silent for a moment. All you get is a blank expression. You're thinking of becoming a Shadowrunner. He says it without judgment, just a statement of fact. What do you think that jaunt into the walled city was? Crosses his arms, considering. It was a test. The triad woman was testing us. Shadowrunners. Oh man. I have to think about this? He shakes his head slowly. Lets out a groan. This isn't the way it was supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a cop. You gets to keep your gun. That's something. Don't mess with me, woman. He checks his watch. Gobbett and Isabel left a while ago. We should get going too. See what the triad lady has to say. Ooh, Gonley Chang has found someone. How unfortunate for you, buddy. Gonley's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. The clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In its place is a low murmur of laughter and the air of eager anticipation. All eyes are focused on a groaning figure kneeling bloody and bound at the feet of Kindly Chang. She beckons to him with her finger and he struggles towards her. The loud rustling of the plastic tarp cackling under his knees as he moves. His pants are wet in fear. An acetyl torch lies on the table at Chang's right hand. Kindly Chang ignores the scene. She behaves as if all is right in the world. How did you sleep, my little ones? Like a baby, Auntie. I'm still in the afterglow of the tour of the walled city. Triad Boss's eyes turn to half moons of amusement. Afterglow. Really? She nods her head back towards the pillar of meat standing behind her. Then you should be diligent and say hello to your new old friend, Strangler Bao. He's here because of you. What's up, beef? Strangler Bao's eyes widen until they're more white than color. There's raw hatred written there. Chang's demeanor changes in a heartbeat. Her amusement expression drops like acid rain. Mr. Bao is an honored member of the Yellow Lotus, whereas you are an outsider. Her head pushes forward on her neck. A disposable outsider. Well then, now that the niceties are over, let's get to the nasties. She indicates the kneeling man with an incline of her nose. Shitbird here is a plainclothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before his competition got to you first. My men found him outside the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to it that your rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. She nods her head back towards the pile of meat standing behind her. You can thank Mr. Bao for that. Nor that Strangler Bao. Bao inclines his head 1/4 of an inch. She addresses the bloody man on his knees. Now, shitbird, tell my friends here what you told me. HKPF officer. I don't know anything. I swear, I just got the orders last night. He pushes his head towards you and Wu from the floor, struggling to keep his balance. Somebody high up wanted these two dead. The whole department is on it. I don't know anything else. Someone higher up? The old woman lifts her foot, taps his chin with the toe of her shoe. How high? The cop looks up at her, looks around the room, filled with triad soldiers. One of them opens his coat and shows the cop something inside. He closes it slowly and winks. The cop drops his head to his chest. All the way up. All the way up. It's someone on the council. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead. Chang spits on him with a sneer. Fuck your ancestors to the 18th generation. Give me the truth. The cop wears the spittle. He never lifts his head. In truth, madam, I swear. Whoever it was labeled them as terrorists. Were to terminate with extreme prejudice. Only Cheng shuffles closer to the kneeling cop, reaches down and strokes his head with her hands. Then she slowly digs her fingers into his skull. She pulls back hard until his chin points at her. The Tread boss leans in close and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. She lets go of his head and smooths his buzz-cut hair with her hands. For whatever reason, last night someone on the executive council of the Free Enterprise Zone ordered Hong Kong police force to kill 2 nobodies from Seattle. I find that fascinating, don't you? Not really. Corporations can just order the cops to kill people here. Only Ching smiles knowingly. Corruption is so ingrained in our society, we don't even see it as corruption. If a street vendor can get out of a sanitary citation by buying a cup of tea for $5 million, imagine what a mega corporation can do. Seattle isn't like Hong Kong. There, the mega corps control the government. Here, the corps are the government. The exec council is chosen by the corporate board of governors. They're basically the legislative and executive branches of Hong Kong government in one tiny package. 8 people call the shots. Neat and efficient. Only Cheng steps back from the cop and lights one of her thin black cigars. For the wage slaves and the civilian sheep, the corporations are a pantheon of gods who wield absolute power. She looks around the room. But not for us. The Triad woman takes a long pull of her cigar. and taps her ash on the kneeling corpse's head. Who else knows about my guests visiting Hui, shitbird? No one, ma'am. I hadn't called it in yet. I wanted to kill for myself. No one knows they're here, I swear it. She turns to her enforcer. Mr. Bao? Bao fiddles with the PDA in his meaty hands. He's telling the truth. No outgoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao. She nods at the cop. Thank you for your honesty. In one smooth motion, Strangler Bao produces a silenced pistol, fires it once into the policeman's head, and replaces it in his jacket. His face never changes expression. Looks like the triads can be just as efficient. Chang takes a long drag on her cigar. Yes, my darling. She balances the cigar on her shot glass, picks up some mahjong tiles and begins playing with them absently. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involved in the walled city. Something have to do with prosperity. And this executive council member wanted Raymond dead for it. She stacks the tiles one by one. Click clack. Now they want you dead for it too. Quick. This plastic-faced man may show up on your door one day too. She knocks the pile over and it clatters on the table loudly. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. A smile lights up her dead black eyes. Work for me. With Nightjar and Gunshot dead, I find myself with 2 job openings. Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here. Players unaffiliated with the Triads who can take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about town. You've proven yourself resourceful, and you have no existing connections here. That can be positive in this line of work. This line of work sounds dangerous. Shadowrunners, huh? That sounds surprise. Yep, you called it, Sam. In exchange, I will keep you safe from the pests like this one. She nods at the body on the floor. The pool of blood on the plastic wrap continues to widen. You'll have a safe harbor in my town and a steady source of income. She picks up a handful of tiles again. And while you dip your toe in the waters of corporate espionage, organized crime, and clandestine mercenary action, I will employ my network to find the plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, who he's been talking to, who stood to gain from his death. What's this prosperity could be. You're putting in a lot of effort to help a pair of foreigners. Not foreigners, my sweet. Valued business associates. I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then order the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. Her voice drops and becomes deadly serious. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Face dictates it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. How would the arrangement work? I find the right jobs for people like you. I find jobs with people of your talents. You do what the clients cannot do for themselves. I take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You make a lot of doing it very quickly. It's all very civilized. She leans in. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money. Let my network work for you and help you find out what you've gotten yourself into. With my help, you wouldn't last a day out there. You are completely out of your depths, I'm afraid. You'll need a partner. Kindly Chang will be your partner. Rui's hands go to his hips. He drops his head and shakes it a little, amused. It was just like you said, Sam. Shadowrunners. Glad I had some time to think about it. Process. He grips the back of his neck, squeezes hard, rips his hand away. Ah, fuck it. I'm not a cop anymore. That guy's dead. He nods. The decision's made. I'm in. What about you? I'm in too. I didn't have anything back home anyway. He looks at you and lets out a chuckle. Yeah, you might want to ask yourself why someday. Okay, I'm in, but this is a temporary situation for me. Raymond is alive, I'm sure of it. So I'll keep the shadows as long as Auntie Chang keeps up her end of the bargain and helps us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm gonna find my father. Then it is done! Way is open to you. She gestures to her lieutenant, who raises a finger to her ear and whispers into her sleeve. First order of business, Sam McSamface, the 5/4, and Duncan Moo don't exist anymore. You'll need street names. Wu sighs. Yeah, okay. I'll think of something. Gubbit rubs her cheeks against the rat's glints in her eyes. I think we've already got you covered, gun show. She turns to Isabel. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that was gonna stick. It has stuck. Gobbet, Isabel? We'll handle this the same way we did with all your previous work. She didn't say Nightjar. All the jobs are lined up for you will be sent to your computer on the squat boat. She's pointing at you. Why me? It is a simple process of elimination. She points at a little Decker. Isabel isn't a leader type. You got that right. She moves her finger to the orc girl. As for Gobbet, she just say Gobbet doesn't have a head for business. Not my thing. Then she rests her finger on Wu. And then there's Guncho. She wiggles it. The jury's out on Mr. Guncho. Meaning? Her response is direct, straightforward. Meaning there's a lot going on with that head of yours right now, and I'm not sure I can trust you. So I'm in charge because I'm the best of the worst. Oh, my sweet. Don't put it that way. She opens her arms. You're the most equipped for the role. She's making sense. You're the right person for it, Sam. Okay then, guess I'm running the show. Wu shakes his head, eyebrows raised. Gonna be weird calling you Lady Nightbot again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. Gobbet looks from Isabel to Wu to you. I guess this is our new group. The rat on her shoulder scurried to the top of her head, for a better view. Welcome to the shadows, Lady Nightbot. I can click this and I can level up my characters. Spirits will never break away in the first 2 rounds after summoning them. What does this one do? Gobbet spends some more time at the firing range, increasing her ranged combat skill and SMG specialization by 1. I don't like going that one. Let's go to her. Isabel gains Tar Blaster 1.0 program. The upgraded version of Blaster. That also sticks enemies in place for 1 round. Let's go with Sabotage. Augment Weapon Mini Launcher. Isabella Grenade Launcher can now fire remote mines, which can be triggered to detonate at will. I think I'll go with Espionage for her. And then Duncan. 5 power round. Duncan gains the assault rifle ability that fires a single shot of incendiary ammo. Does an additional 2 damage and pierces up to 2 armor costs. 1 AP, cooldown 2 rounds. Let's go with Lethal Force and confirm all. Exit. Wait for this program to come back. Come on. There we go. Alright, so thank you very much for joining me. I love you all. And the Dream Penguin wishes you the good seas. I shall catch you later. Bye.